Hi, I'm Kathy from Stitch It Together, and I wanted to show you how you can measure something, maybe a pattern piece or part of a quilt from within Select and Sew in your um, QCT software digitally, where you don't even have to go to your sewing machine. So I'm going to show you a few things that may help you do that. Right now, I am in simulation mode and it is asking me to set my safe area. So it's going to come up with these numbers right here, and I'm not going to change my width. I'm going to leave the same, but I do not have a 30-inch frame zone space. I have a 21, and usually that is set to 17.5. But when I am trying to work on something in simulation mode, I have found that it will let me set the space bigger than what my actual sewing machine space is. And I have found that helpful when I'm simulating something or working with patterns. And so I thought I'd also point that out. So I'm going to leave that at 30, which again, my frame is not 30 inches wide. Sorry, deep, but I'm going to just use this for simulation purposes. The pattern that I'm going to be working with is something that I have been struggling a little bit with, and I'm looking for workarounds for a Carly Porter pattern. And what I have discovered is that when I tried to import the individual pieces of this pattern, that they would not import from the QLI to the QCT in a scaled format. So in order to get to use the pieces, I had to import the whole pattern piece, and then I needed to find out what the size was of certain pieces and certain portions of this pattern. And in order to get that information, I could have, and I did, stitch it out, but I can also take very accurate measurements by measuring digitally, and that's what I'm going to show you. Here's my pattern, and I have changed it to 30 inches. And I need to know a few things. I need to know there are 29 sections inside of this one pattern, and I have a picture of what each individual section looks like. This circle right here, the centerpiece, is one of those. And I needed to get a measurement for all of those section pieces. So how I can do that without stitching it out is to go, I can zoom in 100% here, and then you can use your toolbox. And I can select my ruler just like that. That was all right here. And I can put a start point right here and an end point right here. And you'll see that I then have a measurement. If you're going to do this, and for me, I needed to know the very highest point and the very lowest point. Sometimes those are not going to be a circle, and so it's not going to be in the same Y plane right here. For example, if I needed to measure this piece right here, the highest point and the lowest point might not be in the same Y plane. So the highest point might be like right here, and the lowest point is not directly a straight line. You can see that it's slanted. So in order to make sure that I can get that measurement, so I don't want this distance, and that's all it's going to tell me is that distance, I might have to kind of guesstimate right here to get that. And if I'm very careful, I can do that. You can keep eyeballing it until it is a straight line. But you don't have that same block feature that you do in other ruler functions. Like if you go to Power Panto or to Basic, you would have the option to use the block measurement where you could have a diagonal line and it would tell you the width as if it was a straight line. You can't do that with this particular ruler function in Select and Sew, so you will need to be careful if you're going to use that. The other thing that I needed to measure is just for this particular project that I'm working on, I am going to be lining up certain sections so that they're in a, um, they create their own row because I'm unable to stitch this whole thing at 60 inches, obviously, in my sewing space. So I needed to know this measurement right here all the way across to its widest point, which I actually did know because it's 30 inches. But then I would need to know, I will have a series of patterns that the width is going to be from roughly this piece all the way to the widest point of this piece. So I needed to know what was that distance and so on. There was another section right up here, and I think the widest point was right here, and the other widest point might have been like right here. And actually, I think it was right there. But I can take those measurements and record them. And I did not need to do that on my stitched out piece. I can do that digitally by using this method here. So while I needed to use it for this particular project that I'm working on, it's nice to know that if I needed to do it for some other reason, that I can. And I hope that this will help you in the future. And thanks for watching.